Welcome back to Operation Evil. This is episode 136, Assistant Coroner in Lover's Triangle, featuring my friend Diana. Welcome, Diana, to the show. If you want to say hi.
Hi, Nayoka. Thanks for having me on.
I am so excited you're on. We've known each other for years now, and she was like, hey, I don't mind helping you out if you want to do an episode. Yes, please. Let's do this. I'm so happy. This is fun, and there's like a connection with the place, which I didn't even really write down what city, but it was outside of Myrtle Beach, right?
Yes, it happened in Marion County, and the body was found in between Marion County and Horry County, and the trial was in Conway. So, anyone that's familiar with the Myrtle Beach area, they mentioned Sockasty, which is between Myrtle Beach and Conway. So, anybody familiar with Myrtle Beach that has driven in has driven through Marion County and Conway.
Nice. Yeah. So you are familiar with the area. I'm not. I wish I was because, that'd be kind of cool to know. But this is another love triangle story, and it never goes right, does it? Never. Never,
No.
ever. Yeah. So I'll just hop right in. Gregory Vincent Rice was 37 years old when he was reported missing by his wife on October 5th, 2020, and was last heard from on October 2nd, 2020. He was last seen outside of Myrtle Beach, and police used dogs and search warrants to try to locate him. On November 8th, police found a body believed to be his along the Great PD River. Investigators identified two suspects: 35-year-old Megan Marie Jackson, who was Gregory's wife, or soon-to-be ex-wife, they were separated, and 37-year-old Christopher Allen Dontel. On November 11th, both were arrested on murder charges. Now, I kind of just want to go into the couple's background. The couple had been together since 2006, and they had 4 children together. But they did split up when their oldest child, Savannah, was a teenager. Savannah would describe her parents' relationship as toxic, and they would fight a lot, and that they just weren't compatible. She even mentioned, like, they didn't really say "I love you" to each other. I don't know if that included the kids too, but definitely the mom and dad didn't say it. She did describe her father as a flawed man, but he did try his best, and he cared very much for his kids and his work. Also, a little more about Greg. His brother, Steve Rice, said that they were best friends, and he said that he and his brother were going to make movies together. And Steve works behind the camera, and Greg loved being creative. And I think he had actually planned to spend some time with his brother, but time got away and it didn't happen. And then he went missing, and he kind of just missed out on that opportunity. Now, Chris and Megan. Christopher was a deputy coroner for the same county that all of this happened, and he continued to work as such after Gregory went missing and before police identified him as a person of interest. Now, the coroner's office released a statement through the police about the arrest and said, quote, "On or about October 5th, my chief deputy, Tamara Willard, was briefed on the disappearance of Greg Rice by HCPD and informed that Deputy Coroner Chris Dontel would be questioned with regard to an investigation. Permission was given to examine Chris's county phone and vehicle at the time. On October 23rd, Chris Dontel was informed by the county police department that he was officially under investigation in this disappearance, at which point he was suspended immediately from the coroner's office, denied access to all county property, and promptly removed from the call schedule. On Monday, November 9th, Mr. Dontel was terminated from the county coroner's office, end quote. Can you imagine someone working for the county is like being investigated and there's a guy missing?
No, it's very baffling and sad. Someone that everyone had trusted in that
Hmm.
capacity and to be involved with something so horrendous.
Yeah, someone who works cases like this to discover what happened to someone.
Very, very sad for
It
sure.
is. And so you might think, like, does he have a criminal background? So I found out that Chris's criminal background before this was pretty much non-existent. Like he only had a speeding um record from 2009 and paid $185 in costs and fees. That's it. Just one speeding ticket. Now Megan, her criminal background only had 2 counts of seatbelt violations from November 5th of that year, and those cases remained pending at that time of her arrest. In 2017, she was charged with failure to use a turn signal and paid $25 in fees. So both of them were pretty squeaky clean.
Right. In the scheme of things, I mean, it's breaking the law. I'm not condoning breaking the law, but in the scheme of things, seatbelt is a minor offense. I
Yeah.
mean, and I would think his record would have been clean. I wouldn't expected anything to be major show up when he was assistant coroner.
Oh,
And
yeah. I
Horry
didn't even
County
think of
is a
that.
huge county.
Yeah. I mean, they really check your background when you work for counties, cities. I mean, they look at it, all of those things. So, yeah, you're right. We shouldn't have expected anything from him. That's
Right.
interesting. But you're right. I mean, not that long ago, seatbelts were optional, right? So
Right.
that's not even like a huge deal like it was, well, like it is now. But
And
anyways,
it doesn't make you I mean, it's
yeah, it's
breaking
not
the law. I don't
criminal.
want to condone it, but it's not something that, you robbed a bank, you killed somebody, you did
Yes.
something like is very, very to the next level of felony and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I would say they sound like they both had a pretty clean record until this time.
Yeah, so that kind of tells you too, like no matter what someone's background is, maybe some people do have it in them, even though they might have that squeaky clean history. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Now, do you know if there was a life insurance policy on Gregory? I mean, like, I know the motive, they wanted him out of the way, but usually in a case
Yeah,
like this, it seems like it's for money, it's for something like that.
yeah. I don't know. I don't think I found anything actually, but that's such a good point, and there has to be a motive like that. You're right. It's usually money or love. And
Mhm.
they were already separated at this point. So, or the children. Some people just don't want to share the kids either, but
Yeah.
mm,
The
I don't
sad
know.
part, they both had children and oh, it's heartbreaking.
It is. So what's interesting too is that Christopher was actually married. And after his arrest, his wife posted on Facebook around 1:30 a.m. asking for space. She posted, quote, "Hey guys, I know everyone is concerned about what is going on at the moment. I kindly ask for space as our family is trying to figure this all out. I appreciate the love and care. However, please do not message me at this moment as it is making this more difficult for us." End quote. I'm sure she was getting blown up.
Yeah. It wasn't she a school teacher or something? I saw part of the
Oh, I don't know.
I thought I could be wrong, don't quote me, but I thought she might have been a school teacher at one time and
Huh.
they had two young children. So I couldn't even imagine what she was going through. And to hear part of her testimony is heart wrenching. I think they've been married 10 years.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I'll have to hear more of that from you because I didn't get any of her side. I don't believe. Yeah, I don't think I did. All I know is that when Megan and Chris were in the courtroom for a bond hearing for being accused of murder and conspiracy for the death of Greg Rice, new allegations of abuse and details of a brutal murder were released. And it turns out that Megan and Greg's relationship went sour and they split up a year prior. And they remained in contact afterwards because of the custody of the children. Meanwhile, Chris and Megan were having an affair. And at first, it was said that the affair began when Megan worked as a subcontractor for the coroner's office. So she was in the body transportation business. So they would pick up bodies together. But
Crazy.
apparently, yeah, right?
Yeah.
And apparently the two were like family friends before that, and their kids would play together, and Megan would babysit his kids. And it's believed that their relationship escalated around January of 2020. And in the fall, Megan told Chris that she was pregnant and he believed it was his child. And in early October, she told him that the fetus was dead and everything was working out because Greg was gone. I don't know.
Yeah.
It kind of
Wow.
messes with you.
Yes. I
So
wonder
from
if
what
she
I
lied about
understand,
it. Maybe she
she
wasn't even pregnant, was she?
I know because it seems like it was like, oh, I'm pregnant. No, no, I'm not.
Yeah. Sounds
And
like she wasn't.
she seemed like, if I'm not mistaken, she like moved close to his family and kind of
Yeah.
like worked
The
herself
same
into,
neighborhood. Yes.
yeah, like worked herself into this family. I
Within
don't know.
walking distance, I heard the daughter testify of where they each lived. And the crazy thing, what I heard was, and I might be jumping ahead, I'm
No,
sorry.
go ahead.
They hid their affair, but the daughter, Savannah, she found out they were having an affair. One night she had friends over and they went downstairs. It was quiet and she heard her mother having sex with Christopher.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh.
and could you imagine the embarrassing thing and
No,
anything and bringing your friends over and your mom's having an affair to boot with the neighbor? I mean, how horrific of a mother putting her children through this.
that poor girl.
Do you miss the days of good old-fashioned and sometimes foul conversations? Sometimes at the Fairview Social Podcast, we talk about beer. Sometimes we talk about work or music or family or the latest neighborhood drama, like that stupid 12-foot-tall skeleton that's been in the neighbor's yard for over a year. Stop letting every day look exactly like the one before. Listen to the Fairview Social Podcast. Check us out on all podcast streaming platforms, as well as www.thefairviewsocialpodcast.com. You are welcome.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm going to play audio later of her testifying a little bit. And I don't, didn't she seem like the most nervous? Like she's going to have a breakdown just talking about everything. She was
Yeah.
just so shaken. And I felt so bad for that girl. Oh my gosh.
I felt bad too because
Oh,
she did admit her dad had some issues going on, but regularly he picked up her siblings. She said he would pick them up, bring them back. She would walk to the car, say hi to her dad. She didn't go with them much because she said her mom always promised to do something special with her. I don't know if they ever went
oh.
anywhere special, but she said the night of, I guess, what was it, October 2nd, he disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
The mom gathered the kids up, the three of them, not Savannah, and took them to the dad's house because he didn't show up. He was missing on the 2nd. So Savannah thought that was weird. And I guess when her mother got there, was trying to play it off that he was missing,
Oh.
knew what happened to him, but she was frantic. But Savannah knew something was wrong because her dad picked them up regularly every weekend. So, he was trying and being a good dad, it sounds like.
People don't give kids and teenagers that much credit. They know. They know when something's amiss. They
Mm-hmm.
just know. And she seemed pretty bright.
Yes, I feel bad, and I'm sure she was very nervous. In fact, I'm really surprised. I know that when she testified, they offered her water, but it seems like they should have taken a recess. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that poor girl, I'm not sure if she exactly her age. She was of age, obviously,
Yeah.
18 or more, but to put her on that brutal stand and she was physically shaking, as you saw. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
heart wrenching.
Yeah. She caught my attention with this case to begin with because of how nervous she was. And I was just flipping through TikTok and the trial was on there and a piece of her talking came up. And I was like, what is happening? And that's when I looked into this deeper to see why she was so emotional, and it totally made sense.
Right. Very sad, heart-wrenching, to say the least.
So when it comes to the murder investigation, apparently video surveillance showed Chris buying a tarp, cement blocks, and zip ties before the killing. On early November 8th, 2020, Greg's body was found in the tarp, and two fishermen were stringing lines for catfish when they followed a foul smell to a gray tarp. And once they determined it was human remains, they called the police. Police found the body wrapped in blankets and then a tarp with a cinder block attached, and the body was later determined to be Greg's. Police found a receipt and video footage of those purchases being made as well. Chris's lawyer suggested that the video footage might show that he is an accessory to murder rather than the killer. Police searched Megan's house and found evidence of child abuse. The children are now in state custody and will soon live with Megan's half brother. Do you know what kind of abuse they had at all? Did they talk about that?
The only thing I saw, and I didn't read up on everything, just briefly, that she would lock them in the room and scream
Oh,
at them a lot. So I don't know if maybe physical too. I don't know. But again, they were never told they were loved and
that's
put in
true.
a room and probably isolated a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I
Sounds
mean,
neglected.
yeah, I mean, that could be enough right there when you have small children that, you're doing all that emotional stuff to them. So it was crazy. And then if you follow back up with the testimony of the fisherman that found the body, I'm starting to think, obviously, with the cinder block, they wanted his body to sink to the bottom. It was the little PD River that's between Marion and Horry County that it was found in. And it makes you wonder, did he not sink? Did the river level go up or down during all that whole time? Or why didn't it sink if it was attached to cinder blocks and maybe never found? You know what I mean?
Right. And
But
wouldn't
they
they know the proper way to dispose of a body if that's what they do for a living?
maybe not know how to dispose of them because they just pick them up. I don't,
That's
I,
true. That's true. But I would think like you would know a little bit more. That's
but
crazy.
there's never a smart killer though, right? They
That's
always
true.
find stuff to do something dumb that most of them do get caught eventually with the
Hmm.
amazing detective work that's out there now.
That's so true. You can't get away with anything these days because this DNA technology is advancing so fast, and they will catch you one way or another.
Oh, and then back up one thing, and I'm sorry if I'm jumping all around, but he was in the car. Christopher was when Megan pulled up the car, or no, I think Christopher was Chris was driving. Megan pulled up, they pulled up next to Gregory, and she said, pull up closer, and she shot him. And
I'm
then
so glad that you brought that up.
they
Yes.
both loaded his body up too, and she shot him more than once. I don't know how many bullets, but so yes, he didn't do anything about it once she shot him. So if he would have
Yeah.
probably been in the clear. But I think 4 days prior to shooting them, she was working on a plan how to get rid of him, like cut a
Mm.
brake line or whatever. She was masterminding to get rid of him 4 days prior to the shooting.
And it's like, why? Why? I'd
Yeah.
love to know.
I don't know why, except just the lover's triangle.
Oh my gosh. And apparently there's a lawsuit from all this. So Greg had an older son named Zachary Rice, and he's the representative of his father's estate. And he filed a lawsuit against Chris Dontel and Megan Jackson on behalf of himself and his four minor siblings. The lawsuit states that Chris and Megan acted in concert to murder Gregory Rice. The lawsuit states that Gregory Rice, quote, survived for some period of time before succumbing to his injuries, end quote. Zachary asked for, they didn't really say what amount of money, but he wanted them to cover medical and funeral expenses as well as other damages. And during the time of the filing, Chris was released after posting a $125,000 bond. He is charged with murder and criminal conspiracy. and Megan remained in jail and charged with murder, criminal conspiracy, and 4 counts of unlawful neglect of her child. And her bond was set at $105,000. I don't know what came of this lawsuit. I could not find any more information on that, but I would love to know if he won that or not.
Maybe it's still pending since some of the sentencing just took place this year, I believe, in June. So maybe it is still pending.
Maybe. If you ever find out anything, let me know. If you ever
Will
happen
do.
to come
I
across
didn't
it.
even follow up with that, so that's good that you did that research too.
I looked and looked, and I couldn't find anything. So hopefully something comes of that. But so back in jail, Chris was arrested again on November 11th, 2020, after violating conditions of his bond. He was ordered to not have contact with Megan. Megan had her bond revoked in June, and she was accused of having contact with Chris both physically and over the phone multiple times. And she was also accused of violating her bond conditions by being pinged at locations where she was not allowed to be.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. I guess she didn't realize modern technology, right?
Yeah, and it gets you every time. So now we're going to jump to 2024. And on June 12th, 2024, Chris is now 41 years old. Megan is now 39 years old. And they were given 2 new charges: conspiracy to commit kidnapping and accessory after the fact. So now I'm going to jump into Chris's trial. 3 days into his trial, his murder and conspiracy to kidnap charges were dropped, although he admitted he helped dispose of Greg's body. So why was this dropped? He ended up pleading guilty to 2 charges. He was indicted on murder, conspiracy to kidnap, criminal conspiracy to commit murder, and accessory to murder after the fact. He agreed to testify against Megan in exchange for the murder and accessory to kidnapping charges being dismissed. So the prosecutor explained how the state would not have been able to prove Chris committed murder, but they could show how he disposed of the body. So he took the deal. They took the deal, basically. And allegedly, Megan killed her husband and then brought his body to a funeral home. And afterwards, she texted Chris saying something like, "Greg is gone." The prosecutor said in court, quote, "Miss Jackson said to him, essentially, it was him or you. I need you to go get him out of the Myrtle Beach funeral home," end quote. Also, they had a video of Chris at Lowe's purchasing those items later found and used, as we talked earlier, to dispose of Greg's body. And then there was the video footage of him entering and leaving the site where he dumped the body. So he can definitely be proven at the site, but
I
nothing
think they
more.
put him on refrigeration at the funeral home too, if what I read was correct. I mean, how crazy is that?
Yeah, and I think they even tagged the body like, "I'll get him later" type of thing. Like this was a normal process. Like they took advantage of what kind of work they did to hide
You would think
this.
there would be checks and balances, but I guess there was 2 employees there that did work for the county coroner's office, and you just tag them. I mean, I guess people didn't stop and ask questions of everybody that was in there. I mean, it seems just so bizarre.
It does. It does. And now I'm going to talk a little bit about Megan's trial, which began on June 10th of this year. So Chris, her ex-lover of 10 months, testified against her and said that he threw Greg's body into the river because he feared that Megan would kill him. And he said the night of October 2nd, 2020, he had been hanging out with Megan, going shooting and then out to dinner. And at one point, she said she needed to go see Greg, but didn't say why. So he drove her to Greg's apartment complex in Megan's vehicle. When they arrived, Greg was standing outside. Megan had Chris make a U-turn and pull up next to Greg before she opened the door and fired a gun at Greg multiple times. He had gunshot wounds to the head, chest, hip, and leg. Megan yelled at Chris to help her load the body and take him to the funeral home. They stored the body in the cooler until Chris could dump the body the following evening. So there were no witnesses, I guess, to her just opening fire in
I
this
guess not.
apartment complex.
I'm not sure where that happened because it just seems baffling that you could fire that many shots.
Mm-hmm.
He falls to the ground. They walk around, push him in the van, I believe, and load him up just like they would anybody else, I guess, without a gurney.
Right?
And nobody saw anything.
It's just so weird. But, they do social experiments now to see if people would help another person in trouble when they hear something, see something, and so many people ignore it, which is really, really sad. But anyways, I'm getting off track. So Chris stated, quote, she said if I told anyone what happened, that she'd kill me and that we'd have to be in this together. She told me that I had to stay with her, end quote. After they left the funeral home, they went back to her house where they found Savannah Rice, the daughter of Megan and Greg. Megan took a shower while Chris made small talk with the teen. While crying, he told her, I'm sorry, Savannah. He told the court that he tried to make small talk like he hadn't just watched her mother kill her father. And I will actually insert a little bit of audio here about him talking about this situation and apologizing to Savannah and trying to keep it together.
When we got back to her house, her daughter, Savannah, was watching TV in the living room. And I just remember thinking how normal it looked in the house, and I had to pretend that this hadn't just happened. Sorry. Megan went straight to the shower, and I sat on the couch with Savannah. I'm sorry, Savannah.
Okay, you just have to answer my question.
I'm sorry. I sat on the couch with her, and I tried to make small talk, like I hadn't just watched her mother kill her father.
Okay, so then they went back to the funeral home so that Megan could collect items from Greg's body. Then she left Greg's keys on his front porch when she faked dropping the children off the following morning. She really went above and beyond, didn't she?
Mm-hmm.
The next day, Megan threatened Chris to get rid of the body or she would kill him. He wasn't sure how he would do it, but that's when he went to Lowe's and purchased those items. This testimony was the first piece of direct evidence state prosecutors had to tie Megan to the murder. Cell phone data, security footage, and license plate readers show Chris and Megan were together most of the night Greg was killed. When the defense cross-examined Chris, the lawyer called him a scaredy cat and asked why he would be afraid of Megan, who was a small woman. He responded, quote, I've answered this question twice already, and the answer is because she told me she would kill me, and I have seen her kill the father of her kids, and I believe that she would kill me as well, end quote. I mean, that's fair.
Wow. That's scary.
Mm-hmm. More about their relationship came out. And in another article, it said that their relationship started off as work friends, and Chris married his wife in June of 2015, and that they were in the process of moving when his wife was pregnant and unable to lift heavy boxes. So one day at work, Chris mentions this to Megan, that he had a lot to do and, not having much help. And she's like, oh, I'll help you. And she volunteered to help him move, just getting her way in there.
Do you think that's how it all started? Besides working together, then
Yeah.
volunteering to help move.
I believe that she definitely is the type that would squeeze herself into any situation she could. Yeah, I do.
Evil woman.
Yeah. Yes. Married or not, she's like, I don't care. I don't
Right.
care. So then in 2018 or 2019, he invited Megan to lunch at a place called Bricks. Do you know where that is?
I do
You heard?
not.
Okay. During lunch, Megan got drunk. And as time went on, Megan appeared to be around Chris whenever possible, including becoming a regular at that restaurant he took her to because he was a regular. Many times he would go there and she would just be there drunk. So she's going out of her way to run into him. So one night at the end of 2019, she paid her tab and told him she needed to tell him a secret. She had Chris get into the passenger seat of her work van and drove around to the back of the restaurant and parked. She said, quote, "Have you ever cheated on your wife?" End quote. He said, "No." She said, "Well, you're about to." And then she climbed over the console on top of Chris and started kissing him. And he said he pushed her off of him and told her no. And at work, she started teasing him, saying that he was the only guy who had ever refused her. And she did not stop trying, though. She pursued him until he said yes, and they began having sex often. Near Christmas of 2019, Megan moved into Dontel's neighborhood without Greg, but with her 4 children, living only a few blocks away from him. She became friends with Chris's wife, Erica, and their children, and they would all spend time together. After COVID-19 hit, it definitely caused some financial issues with Chris and Erica. Between the financial problem and raising 2 small kids, they were in a rough patch of their marriage. And during this, Megan and her family began spending more time with Chris's family, like daily. Megan even helped them financially sometimes. There were times where she would help them with groceries or pay for their meals when they went out to a restaurant. She was pretending to be a good friend. In late August, Megan told Chris that she was pregnant with his child. And then in the fall, that's when Erica received a anonymous text message saying that her husband was sleeping with Megan and that she was pregnant. She was in shock and confronted them, but they denied it. Megan believed it was Greg who sent Erica the text. There was even a package sent to Erica with a stack of printed out screenshots showing texts between Chris and Megan, but Chris found the package first and hid it. I feel like she's the type of woman that would purposely, anonymously send that package and also text his wife that information, but I could be wrong. But
I
just,
agree. She wanted to move up their relationship, it seems like, and get the wife out of the way.
I think so too. I mean, could it have been the ex? Maybe, but I feel like she has a mission. Now,
I
when
agree.
her daughter Savannah testified and she was nervous, like we were talking about, having a really hard time on the stand. I mean, you could really hear it in her voice. And I am going to include a snippet of her talking about the time period around her father missing and when they found his body. And you will just hear it for yourself.
This will sound like a silly question, but do you remember when your father went missing?
October 2nd.
What do you remember about sort of that time period?
Before or after?
Right out, when you found out that he was missing. So October 2nd was a Friday night, right?
Mm-hmm.
What happened the next morning?
She woke up. We all got up. She got the kids ready to bring them to our dad's, which I already thought was weird because he always came to pick them up and he would come in to see me or I'd go out to see him, which it didn't happen this morning. So she got the kids in the car and...
If you just take some time to breathe. It's okay. Do you need some water?
She brought the kids to his house, and she called me, and she was really frantic. She said she had searched everywhere. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Take your time.
She had said she had searched everywhere. She looked in his car. She couldn't see his keys or his wallet or his phone. She looked in the windows, and then she said she's going to call the police. And they came back. And that was really just...
When you say they came back, who do you mean?
Madison, Blake, Dakota, my siblings, and my mom.
Okay. So that was the morning of October 3rd. How did your life change after your father went missing?
My mom wasn't home even more often. She wasn't home due to her job most of the time, but it became a lot more when he went missing. Everybody was really emotional. We didn't go out at all. My mom did, but we didn't. We really just stayed in the house.
It's okay. Take your time. Do you remember when they found your father's body?
Yes. I do.
What do you remember about that?
I was at my best friend's house, and her mom came in the room. She told me not to go onto any of my electronics, but she didn't know that one of my friends from the neighborhood had already told me. I didn't believe it, but
This is kind of like a big other. Was there anything significant about that day besides the fact that they found your father's body?
That they told us my mom had something to do with it, and that all of my siblings would have to be living somewhere else.
So both Chris and his wife, Erica, also testified that Megan had described Greg as an abusive man and a drug user. And multiple police witnesses said they found no evidence of hard drug use in the home or even in his autopsy. The only drug found in his system was marijuana. Chris and Erica never met Greg and only knew what Megan said about him, but the children spoke very highly of him to Chris. The prosecution appeared to imply that Megan's motive for killing Greg is the fact that allegedly told Erica about the affair. Okay. So she's saying Greg told about the affair, so that's why she had to kill him?
It doesn't make any sense.
No. Did you have anything to add with the Chris or Erica's testimony? Did you hear any of that? I did not.
I heard some, but I think I shared most of the snippets that I heard stuff. But it's a good thing the police caught it when it was, because it could have even escalated that they would have went after Erica to get her out of the way. I mean, you just don't know what they would have been capable of next.
Oh my gosh, that's a good point. Yeah. She was unhinged. She could have totally have done that.
Yes.
Sentencing. It took the jury about 2 hours to decide her fate. Wow, that's nothing, is it?
No.
Oh my gosh. After a 5-day trial, the jury found Megan Jackson guilty. The judge sentenced her to life in prison. Megan became almost motionless after hearing her fate. When asked if she wanted to say something, she shook her head no. The prosecutor read Savannah's written statement aloud between the jury's verdict and the sentencing. Savannah requested her mother be sentenced to life in prison in her statement. Her letter stated, quote, "This crime has torn apart my family, others' families, and friends beyond any measure. My siblings and I have all suffered greatly, not only from the loss of my father, but the loss of a mother too. This trial and getting up on the stand has been one of the most heartbreaking and painful things I've ever had to do. It has also been one of my most relieving and rewarding things. I finally got to say what has been sitting in my brain for the last 4.5 years, end quote. Oh, and lastly, Chris was sentenced to 20 years in prison, 15 years for a criminal conspiracy to commit murder, and 5 years for accessory after the fact.
And I guess they'll count his 5 years because he was in 4 or 5 years before his came to trial. So it's heart wrenching. And if, Savannah was a very brave young lady, though, to get up on behalf of her younger siblings and be the spokesperson. So how horrific and what she went through is unimaginable, but a very, very brave young lady.
Agreed. Agreed. That was a crazy story. With Chris, yeah, he got 20 years. He'll probably get credit for the 5 years. And then if he's on good behavior, he could be out in another 5 to 7. I mean,
yeah, because he wasn't holding the gun, so you don't have that extra charge in there. So
yeah, he saved himself.
Yeah.
What I would like to know is, do you think his wife Erica will wait for him and stay with him?
No, I do not. If I watched a little bit of her testimony, and she was just so distraught that this happened and stuff. So no, I honestly do not believe she's going to be waiting around for him to forgive him of this.
Good for her. Good for her. And that will do it for today's episode. Thank you so much for coming on here and discussing this with me. It was such a good case to cover. And you probably watched more of the trial than I did, and I appreciate your input on all that stuff.
Thanks for having me.
I would love to have you again. I mean, we might be able to do some spooky episode here in the future, so that would be very fun. But thank you again for coming on. And for anyone listening, if you want more episodes, you can jump onto our Patreon. Got over 40 plus episodes over there you can binge on. Otherwise, we'll be back with a new episode in a couple weeks. And that will be all. Goodbye.
Thank you.